She was one of Baltimore's brightest young entrepreneurs. At just 26 years old, she had built a successful tech company, earned national recognition, and inspired countless young innovators. Then one night, after returning home from a festival, she vanished. 2 days later, her body was discovered on a rooftop. The man responsible was already wanted for another horrific crime. This is the tragic story of Pava LaPere. For 2 days, nobody knew where she was. Her phone went silent. Her meetings were missed. Her employees grew worried. Then a search led to a place few people ever visited, a restricted rooftop. What they found there would shock Baltimore, spark national headlines, and raise difficult questions about a criminal who never should have been free. This is the tragic story of Pava LaPere, and the deeper investigators dug, the more disturbing the truth became. Before we begin, our hearts go out to the family, friends, colleagues, and everyone whose lives were touched by Pava LaPere. Behind the headlines and court proceedings was a young woman with extraordinary potential, whose passion, leadership, and commitment to helping others left a lasting impact on her community. While this video explores the facts surrounding this tragic case, we also remember the life that was lost and the many people who continue to feel that loss every day. This is True Crime Diaries, where we bring you the stories behind the cases, the evidence, the investigation, and the voices that must be heard. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real stories that matter. And share with us below, what do you think is the most important lesson from this story? Pava LaPere wasn't just another startup founder. To many people in Baltimore, she represented the future. Born in Texas and later raised in Arizona, Pava was intelligent, ambitious, and determined from an early age.
Pava, CEO and founder of EcoMap Technologies.
She eventually moved across the country after being accepted to Johns Hopkins University in Maryland. At first, she planned to pursue medicine, but during her college years, she discovered something unexpected. She realized that building systems and businesses could create change on a much larger scale. Rather than helping one patient at a time, she believed she could help entire communities. That idea became the driving force behind her career. While still a student, she launched initiatives designed to help young entrepreneurs bring their ideas to life. Friends described her as energetic, creative, and constantly working on new projects. Failure didn't discourage her. It motivated her. Every setback became a lesson. Every obstacle became another challenge to solve. Eventually, that mindset led her to create EcoMap Technologies. The company focused on helping organizations understand and connect innovation ecosystems. In simple terms, EcoMap helped businesses, nonprofits, universities, and government agencies work together more effectively.
I wanted to be a doctor. Like many people, I figured that this was a way for me to make a real and meaningful difference in this world. So for as long as I can remember, I did all of the typical pre-med things in high school. I was the president of the medical club, I was in National Honor Society, and I got into the Johns Hopkins University, the place that you go to become a pre-med. You see, I had my life entirely mapped out. You know, there are millions of people suffering every day from preventable, or rather, should be preventable problems. Needless violence, environmental devastation, severe racism, hatred, inequality, and not just in countries half a world away, but in our very own cities.
The concept attracted attention, then funding, then growth. By 2023, EcoMap had become one of Baltimore's most promising startups, and at the center of it all was Pava. She wasn't the type of CEO who stayed distant from employees. People who worked with her often described her as a mentor, a friend, and someone who genuinely cared about the success of others. One employee later referred to her as a 5'2" giant. Despite her small stature, her impact was enormous. Recognition soon followed. Pava earned a place on Forbes' prestigious 30 Under 30 list, an honor reserved for young professionals making significant contributions in their fields. Her future appeared limitless. But on Friday, September 22nd, 2023, everything changed.
Hi, I'm actually calling to file a missing persons report.
Okay, what is the address for the officer to come?
306 West Franklin Street. This is my co-founder. We run a business together.
Okay. And you saw him Friday, correct?
One of our other coworkers saw her on Friday.
Friday, okay. And what is her name?
Pava LaPere.
What is it?
It's Pava LaPere, P-A-V-A. Her middle name is Marie, and her last name is LaPere, L-A-P-E-R-E.
25, go over to 306 West Franklin Street, Suite 102. See a Sherrod Davis wants to report her co-worker is missing.
That evening, Baltimore was alive with activity. Artscape, one of the city's largest cultural festivals, had drawn thousands of visitors. Music filled the streets. Artists displayed their work. Food vendors lined the sidewalks. For many attendees, it was simply a chance to enjoy a beautiful night. Pava attended the festival with friends and coworkers. Witnesses later recalled that she appeared happy and relaxed. Nothing seemed unusual. Nothing suggested danger. As the evening came to an end, people began heading home. Shortly after 10 p.m., Pava sent a message to her boyfriend Jeremy, who was out of town on a business trip. She told him she had an amazing time. It would be one of the last known messages she ever sent. Around 10:30 p.m., surveillance cameras captured Pava approaching her apartment building in downtown Baltimore. The footage showed her walking casually toward the entrance. She appeared calm, comfortable, completely unaware that someone was watching her. Investigators would later determine that a man had been following her. At the time, neither Pava nor anyone else realized the danger. Moments after she entered the building, the man approached the entrance. Security footage showed him lingering outside. Then he appeared to get her attention through the glass doors. Pava walked toward him. The two exchanged words. There was no audio recording. No one knows exactly what was said. But something happened during those brief moments. Something convinced her to trust him. After less than a minute of conversation, Pava opened the door and allowed the man inside. It would prove to be a fatal decision. What happened next remained a mystery for days. The weekend passed. Friends sent messages. Co-workers expected to hear from her. But there was silence. Monday morning arrived. At EcoMap headquarters, employees gathered for another workday. One thing immediately stood out. Pava wasn't there. At first it seemed strange, then concerning, then alarming. She lived in the same building where the company operated. Her commute consisted of little more than an elevator ride. Missing meetings wasn't like her. Ignoring messages wasn't like her. As the hours passed, concern turned into fear. Employees began searching the building. They checked her apartment. The door was unlocked. No sign of Pava, no explanation, no indication of where she might have gone. Calls to her phone went unanswered. Co-workers compared notes. When was the last time anyone had spoken to her? Who had seen her most recently? Then someone suggested searching one final location, the rooftop, a restricted area rarely visited by tenants. One employee climbed the access ladder. What he found would haunt him forever.
Baltimore City 911 over 1223 is the address of emergency?
Yes, emergency. There's a dead body on the rooftop of 306 West Franklin.
Tell me exactly what happened, Kevin.
We filed a missing person report for my friend and boss this morning, and we just checked the rooftop of the building. I'm looking at her.
Okay, is she awake?
No.
Is she breathing?
No.
Please tell me why does it look like she's dead?
I don't want to get too far. She's.
You gotta get closer, Kevin. Why does it look like she's dead? Come on, Kevin, you got this.
Her face is. She looks like she's been dead for a couple of days, and she's partly naked. I think she was killed.
I'm sending you help, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Are you okay?
I'm okay.
All right. Is there anything else we can do for you or your family?
Just send people right away.
Pava was lying on the rooftop, motionless, surrounded by signs of a violent struggle. Her friends immediately knew something terrible had happened. Police were called. The rooftop quickly transformed into an active crime scene. Investigators discovered scattered personal items nearby, pieces of clothing, a hair clip, loose buttons, evidence suggesting a brutal confrontation had taken place. As forensic teams began documenting the scene, a grim picture started to emerge. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a medical emergency. Someone had attacked Pava, and according to medical examiners, she had likely been there for nearly 2 days. The realization devastated everyone who knew her. A brilliant entrepreneur, a beloved friend, a rising star in Baltimore, gone at just 26 years old. But investigators now faced a critical question. Who would want to harm someone described by nearly everyone as kind, hardworking, and universally respected?
You know anybody that wanted to hurt Pava?
No.
Yeah, maybe it's me, but somebody was like, you think maybe she's on the roof? Because Pava likes to go on the roof sometimes. And it's like a very Pava thing to do, to come home and she loved, she loved her view and loved either from her window or going up on the roof sometimes.
Girls up there. She would take team members up there, like, have you guys been to the roof yet? Oh, okay, let's go.
Like, she's gone on the roof.
At first glance, there appeared to be no enemies, no obvious suspects, no clear motive. But hidden within hours of surveillance footage was a clue that would soon lead detectives to a man already being hunted for another horrifying crime. And once investigators identified him, they discovered something even more disturbing. This wasn't his first victim, not even close. By the afternoon of September 25th, investigators were racing against time. A young woman had been murdered. A killer was still free. And somewhere in Baltimore, the person responsible was walking the streets. Detectives began where most modern investigations begin: surveillance footage. The apartment building where Pava lived and worked was equipped with multiple security cameras. Investigators pulled every available recording from the night she disappeared and carefully reconstructed her final known movements. At first, the footage seemed ordinary. Pava could be seen returning home after Artscape, still wearing the same outfit her friends had seen earlier that evening. She appeared relaxed after a night out, walking toward the entrance of her building without a hint of concern. But then detectives noticed something. Someone was behind her, not directly beside her, not speaking with her, watching her, following her. The man lingered nearby as Pava entered the building. Seconds later, he approached the entrance and appeared to signal for her attention. Investigators watched the footage repeatedly. The interaction lasted less than a minute. There was no sign of panic, no indication of a struggle, no visible threat. Whatever the man said seemed convincing enough that Pava willingly opened the door and allowed him inside. For detectives, that moment became the center of the entire case. Who was he? And what did he say that earned her trust? The cameras captured both individuals entering the building together, but there was another detail that immediately stood out. No footage showed Pava leaving, only the man. Approximately 35 minutes later, security cameras recorded him exiting alone. He walked calmly, no signs of urgency, no signs of panic. He looked briefly up and down the street before disappearing into the darkness. For investigators, this was the breakthrough they desperately needed. Now they had a face, and surprisingly, they didn't have to search very long to identify him, because police already knew exactly who he was. His name was Jason Billingsley, and detectives had been actively searching for him before Pava's body was ever discovered. As investigators dug deeper, a horrifying picture began to emerge. Just 3 days earlier, another violent crime had shaken Baltimore. A young couple, April Hurley and John T. Gilmore, had been attacked inside their apartment. According to investigators, Billingsley used deception to gain entry. Posing as someone addressing a maintenance issue, he convinced the occupants to open the door. Once inside, the situation escalated into a nightmare. Authorities alleged that he restrained the couple, brutally assaulted them, and attempted to kill them before setting the apartment on fire. Miraculously, both victims survived, burned, injured, traumatized, but alive. Evidence left behind connected Billingsley directly to that attack, and an arrest warrant had already been issued.
Sitting here in front of you guys today is honestly a miracle. sometimes it's still unbelievable that I'm here. Jason Billingsley literally tried to take my life. He tried to take my life, and this could have been prevented.
Yet despite being wanted for an extraordinarily violent crime, he remained free. Now investigators were confronting the possibility that the same man responsible for that attack had claimed another victim. The public soon learned his name, and fear spread quickly throughout Baltimore. Residents were warned to remain alert. Law enforcement agencies at every level joined the search. Local police, state authorities, federal agents. The message was clear. Jason Billingsley was considered extremely dangerous. Police leaders publicly warned citizens to avoid approaching him under any circumstances.
This individual will kill and he will rape. He will do anything he can to cause harm. So please be aware of your surroundings. Every single police officer in Baltimore City, the state of Maryland, as well as the U.S. Marshals are looking for you. We will find you.
According to investigators, he represented an immediate threat to public safety. As news coverage intensified, people across the city began asking difficult questions. How had a man with such a violent history been released? Why wasn't he already behind bars? And could Pava's death have been prevented? Those questions would become even more troubling as details of Billingsley's criminal record emerge. Long before September 2023, he had accumulated numerous arrests and convictions, violent offenses, assaults, robberies, a pattern that stretched back years. But one case stood out above all others. In 2015, Billingsley received a lengthy prison sentence for a brutal sexual assault involving a woman he knew personally. The crime was serious enough that parole officials repeatedly refused to release him. Twice, they concluded he remained a danger to society. Yet despite those decisions, another mechanism within the system eventually reduced his sentence. Through earned credits and automatic sentence reductions, Billingsley was released in October 2022. Less than a year later, police were searching for him in connection with multiple violent crimes. For many observers, the timeline was difficult to ignore. Meanwhile, investigators continued examining every piece of evidence connected to Pava's murder. The surveillance footage remained crucial. Frame by frame, detectives analyzed Billingsley's movements before and after entering the building. Forensic teams worked to connect physical evidence from the rooftop crime scene, DNA samples, blood evidence, personal belongings. Every detail mattered. The evidence continued pointing in one direction, toward Jason Billingsley. Then came another major development. Authorities tracked him beyond Baltimore. Information from investigators and partner agencies eventually led them toward Bowie, Maryland. Evidence suggested he was attempting to reach family members while avoiding capture. The manhunt entered its final phase. On September 27th, just 2 days after Pava's body was discovered, members of a U.S. Marshals task force located Billingsley near a train station. Officers moved in carefully. Given his history, no one wanted to take chances. But the arrest unfolded without incident. The man at the center of one of Baltimore's most high-profile investigations was finally in custody. For Pava's family, friends, and co-workers, it brought a small measure of relief. But relief wasn't the same as justice. There were still questions that needed answers. What happened on the rooftop? Why had Pava been targeted? And perhaps, most importantly, would Billingsley explain what happened during those final moments? Investigators intended to find out. Within hours of the arrest, detectives sat across from him inside an interview room. The conversation would become one of the most important moments in the entire case, because for the first time, the man accused of murdering Pava LaPere would be forced to confront the evidence against him. And what he eventually admitted stunned even seasoned investigators. But before we get to that confession, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think violent repeat offenders should ever receive early release programs? Or should certain crimes automatically remove that possibility forever? Share your opinion in the comments below. And if you're finding this case as shocking as many people did, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more true crime stories that matter. It helps more people discover these stories and supports the channel. Because what detectives learned next would reveal not only how the attack happened, but how close Jason Billingsley came to claiming even more victims. When Jason Billingsley was brought into the interrogation room, investigators already had a strong case against him. They had surveillance footage placing him with Pava LaPere on the night she disappeared. They had evidence connecting him to the building. They knew he entered with her, and they knew he left alone. Now they needed answers. Detectives carefully walked him through the timeline, where he had been, what he had done, who he had seen. At first, Billingsley offered little that helped explain the crime, but investigators kept returning to one critical moment: the doorway, the brief conversation outside the apartment building, the exchange that convinced Pava to let a complete stranger inside. It was perhaps the most important unanswered question in the entire case. What did he say? How did he earn her trust? Unfortunately, even as the interrogation continued, that mystery remained largely unanswered.
You went in there fully clothed, and you came out there partially clothed, right? And we found a white female dead up on the roof. And you're being charged with that murder. Let me ask you this. Were you at 306? That is the address, right? Yeah, 306. 306 West Franklin Street? I'm not answering that. You're not answering that? Okay.
It's so f***ed up. My own sister like set me up, though. To get caught tonight, that's crazy.
That's crazy? Let me tell you what's crazy. What's crazy is this young lady was a pillar in the community, going into her apartment, trying to make her life better and the lives better for everybody around her. She fought for Black Lives Matter. She fought for police injustice, right? She fought for all of that. She was an advocate for all of that. And the very thing and the very people she fought for, she died at the hands of this guy right here. She died at the hands of this guy here, the guy that she would advocate for. The guy, so that's what's f***ed up. Ecomat technology stands against systemic racism, bigotry, in a police state that criminalizes black bodies. That's what she promotes. That's what she was about. That's why she trusted and wasn't biased and trusted that you would be an honorable person and let you in the building.
To talk to you for a minute. Say, why you want to talk to me? That's what I said.
And what did she say?
She opened the door.
So you said, I wanted to talk to you for a minute. But what made you first think that you wanted to talk to her? Where did you see her at first?
Walking up the street.
Did you say anything to her at that point?
No, she had stopped and said something to me. She was joking a little bit.
Okay. And what did she say?
So she was talking like something funny or something, I don't know.
A little joke or something?
Yeah, like a little joke. She left. I followed. I went and asked her why she don't talk to me for a little bit more. Then she opened the door. We went up to the roof.
What made you all go to the roof?
She brought it up.
What'd she say?
She said, come on, I want to show you something. And we went.
Okay. And how did you get up to the roof?
The ladder.
Okay. And once you got up on the roof, what happened?
She was talking for a little bit.
What was she talking about?
I don't know.
What were you talking about?
Nothing.
Okay.
Just.
And then what happened?
blacked out. Roof. I don't know, it was like something in my head, like just one person saying, don't do it. One person saying, don't do it, you got too much going on. And then like this demon, like, it's just like, it seemed like it was just waiting to just be let out or something like that.
But when you were her, what was your intentions?
I don't know. I don't know. I ain't like thinking about none of that till after. Like, I asked myself, like, why I do it? And I don't know why I do it. Why I did it. I don't know, like my conscience and everything else was saying, just go right downstairs. Just go right downstairs. And then I don't know, it was just something that just had to do it.
Billingsley never provided a clear explanation that could fully account for why Pava allowed him into the building. And because there were no surviving witnesses to that interaction, the truth may never be known. What investigators did learn, however, was deeply disturbing. According to reports, Billingsley admitted that he had followed Pava. He acknowledged entering the building. He acknowledged being on the rooftop. And he admitted to striking her with the blood-stained brick investigators recovered at the scene. Yet when detectives pressed him for a motive, his answers offered little clarity. He reportedly claimed he had been struggling with violent thoughts. Thoughts he ultimately acted upon. There was no long-standing relationship, no known personal conflict, no evidence that Pava had done anything to provoke the attack. Instead, investigators concluded that she had become the victim of a violent predator who happened to cross her path that night. For Pava's loved ones, that realization was almost impossible to process. There was no warning, no opportunity to intervene, no way anyone could have predicted what would happen. A random encounter had ended a remarkable young life. As legal proceedings moved forward, prosecutors built their case around the extensive evidence gathered by investigators. Meanwhile, Billingsley's defense team challenged portions of the investigation. Among their arguments was the claim that statements made during his interrogation should not be used against him. His attorneys suggested he did not fully understand the consequences of waiving his rights. Prosecutors strongly disagreed. According to investigators, Billingsley had been properly informed of his rights and knowingly chose to speak with detectives. The legal battle continued for months, but the focus of public attention extended beyond the courtroom. Many people were asking a different question. How had someone with Billingsley's history been free in the first place? As details of his criminal record became more widely known, criticism of the system intensified. People pointed to prior violent offenses, they pointed to warnings from parole officials, and they questioned whether opportunities to prevent future violence had been missed. For the families of multiple victims, those questions carried enormous weight. Among them was April Hurley, one of the survivors of the earlier attack. She later pursued legal action against parties connected to the circumstances that allowed Billingsley access to her apartment building. The case highlighted broader concerns about background checks, hiring practices, and public safety.
And we are here to announce that today, a Baltimore City jury awarded April and Jonte Gilmore a $21.5 million verdict against Eden's Homes LLC and Property Pals LLC for failing utterly to vet, to do any background research on Jason Billingsley, a terrible, terrible, repeat violent sex offender.
At the same time, Pava's family chose to focus not only on accountability, but also on change. Her parents, Frank and Caroline LaPere, became outspoken advocates for criminal justice reform measures aimed at addressing gaps they believed contributed to the tragedy. Their efforts helped inspire legislation designed to limit early release opportunities for certain violent offenders. Supporters argued that the changes could help prevent similar crimes in the future. For many, it became a way of transforming unimaginable loss into meaningful action. But perhaps the most powerful part of Pava's story is not how her life ended. It's how she lived. Long before national headlines focused on her death, Pava was already making a difference. She believed in innovation. She believed in creating opportunities for others. and she believed that systems could be improved to help people thrive. Those ideas didn't disappear after her passing. In fact, they became part of her legacy. Organizations, universities, and community leaders found ways to honor the impact she had made in such a short time. Programs supporting young entrepreneurs were established in her name. Initiatives encouraging innovation continued her mission of helping people turn ideas into reality. Students who may never have met Pava now benefit from opportunities inspired by her vision. In that sense, her influence continues to grow. Eventually, Billingsley reached plea agreements related to both the murder of Pava LaPere and the earlier attack involving April Hurley and John T. Gilmore. The outcome ensured that he would spend the overwhelming majority of his life behind bars. Multiple life sentences were imposed. Legal experts noted that while technical pathways to parole could exist decades in the future, the likelihood of release was considered extremely remote. For many observers, the sentences brought a measure of closure. But closure is not the same as healing. No courtroom outcome could restore what had been taken away. No sentence could return a daughter to her parents, a friend to her friends, a leader to her company, or a visionary to the community she worked so hard to improve.
Erase the grief, or replace the impact that Pava would have had given the full life that she so deserved. I know that he did not have a good life. I know that there are 5 siblings. I know they were all given up. And they grew up separately and independently in foster care. And I was sorry that what possibly could have been a prosperous life of his was taken from him at an early age and created, unfortunately, the monster that attacked April and Jonte and murdered our daughter.
However, Pava was not his only victim. Her grieving mother, Caroline, and her loving brother, Nico, are also victims. The first violent crime which has been stated, which he pled guilty for and was convicted and sentenced to 30 years in prison for, happened in 2015, and yet he was released early in October of 2022. And Governor Moore has stated emphatically on multiple occasions that the system failed Pava. It's time to change that system.
And that's what makes this case so heartbreaking. When people discuss true crime, it's easy to focus on the investigation, the evidence, and the perpetrator. But at the center of every case is a human life, a future interrupted, dreams left unfinished, people forever changed. Pava LaPere was only 26 years old, yet the impact she made continues to be felt across Baltimore and beyond. Her story serves as both a tragedy and a reminder of how quickly life can change, a reminder of the importance of protecting communities from repeat violent offenders, and a reminder that one person's vision can continue inspiring others long after they're gone. As we close this case, one question still lingers. If stronger safeguards had existed, could this tragedy have been prevented? It's a question that continues to spark debate today. What do you think? Do you believe the criminal justice system failed in this case? Or was this a tragedy that could never have been predicted? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more true crime stories that go beyond the headlines. Until next time, stay aware, stay safe, and remember that every case we cover is ultimately about the people whose lives were forever changed. This is True Crime Diaries, and every story has a pulse.